from an ethnic battle for security between us and the Fulani and the Hausa. Now there was another level of battle which actually has to do with our faith. So these two are intertwined. But I've always said to people who listen to me about this conversation that for me, the crisis is not squarely that of religion. The crisis is primarily of a sustained domination of our area. And any form of resistance of this domination results in massacre of our people. Now, if I massacre you today, massacre you tomorrow, and I continue to shift grounds, it will come to a time you become afraid, and then I take over your land. This is what I think is actually the ultimate goal of the headsmen or the bandits or the armed people that are actually carrying mayhem in different communities of Southern Kaduna. And this has been sustained for a very long time. Initially, it began with Sanga local government, which is somewhere towards Lafia Akwanga. Then it moved to around Kaura local government some years ago. Then it moved to the area of Saminaka Kauru. Then it moved to Adara area. Now it has moved to the area of Kaura again, and anybody can be a victim, unfortunately. But the world doesn't seem to understand that this is actually a sort of an agenda, to my mind, to decimate and, if possible, annihilate the entire people of Southern Kaduna if they can. And if that happens, definitely the land will become a land without an owner, and somebody will want to claim the ownership of such a land.
Thank you very much.
We thank you very much, Philip, for this succinct presentation. We will have some questions on some of the things you said, but let's first listen to other speakers. Stephen, please. Mr. Stephen Kefas. If you can unmute yourself and make a presentation.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege. Doctor has spoken virtually almost everything I wanted to say, but then I will still share some views from experience I've had in the field. In fact, even as we speak now, a few days ago, I was in some of these communities that have been attacked. And you see, there are lots of narrative, depends on which camp you belong to. Everybody seems to have taken a position. And based on that position, people tend to say what they believe. But the truth of the matter is, we cannot dispute the fact that what is happening in Southern Kaduna today is a clear case of genocide. Going by any standard, going by the United Nations definition or convention on genocide, what is happening in Southern Kaduna today is a massacre. It's a mass murder. And then, like Doctor have said, I was asked this question in one of the TV channels in Nigeria, that why do I think our people are being killed? And the answer is simple: to take over our land. That is it. To take over our land, to subjugate us or to dominate us and make life miserable for us. And that is why today, as we speak now, there are communities where our own people, the indigenous people, the actual owners of these communities have been displaced. A few days ago, I saw a drone video published by one of the media houses showing communities that were displaced in May 2020. But then you could see freshly cultivated farmland, which means somebody is now occupying these communities. So the narrative that it is a clash or it is a clash between one ethnic group or the other, it doesn't arise, it doesn't hold water. It is a clear case of genocide. But the most unfortunate thing is that the government is not ready to admit this fact. And that is why we are with hope. Because until we identify the real cause of a problem, until we acknowledge what the real problem is, there may never be a solution. And I want to tell you something. Last week or thereabout, there was a meeting they called a peace treaty. And I was laughing. I said, oh, what kind of peace treaty are you signing? What kind of peace meeting are you having? What about the bandits or the terrorists that comes in, invade our communities and massacre our people? Where are they? Are they part of this treaty? So you don't force peace down the throat of people. You first and foremost ensure justice. So, and that is why no matter who chairs any peace meeting that will hold in Southern Kaduna, I can tell you categorically with all sense of responsibility that this peace meeting will continue to amount to nothing. In 2016, there was a peace meeting in Kafanchan, yet few hours after the so-called peace meeting that was widely publicized, what happened? The massacre resumed. Why? Because the government of the day is not only deceiving the public, but also deceiving itself. And that is why after the peace meeting in Zankwa, what happened? The massacre resumed. In fact, the community in Zankwa was attacked, in Zankwa that was attacked. So it goes beyond what the government is saying. And that was why when I read the report from Amnesty International, I was happy that, oh, an organization is beginning to look into this thing critically. You could see the numbers. Unfortunately, today, lives have been reduced to mere numbers in Nigeria. And that is why when people are being killed, you hear people asking, how many are there? How many people were killed? It's quite unfortunate. But in final climb, just one life can spark a revolution. Just one life can spark a mass protest. But that is where we are today. So we are being killed to dispossess us of our ancestral land. And that is why, as we speak, there are communities that are under occupation. The government doesn't want to admit to this fact. They keep shying away from the fact that I was in Sanga local government 2 weeks ago. I met some villagers who left their ancestral home in 2016. They are now seeking refuge in Guantu. And I asked them, why can't you go back to your villages? They said the headmen are now occupying those villages and they are heavily armed. So there is an agenda. The headmen grew up to know cannot afford AK-47. Yes, they are rich, they have cattle, but the headsmen I grew up to know will not sell their cattle to buy arms. So it means that somebody somewhere is arming them. So it is a well-planned agenda. And that is why until the international community begin to take this thing serious, I'm telling you what happened in Rwanda is a child's play. Because the number of people that are being killed on daily basis in Southern Kaduna, it is massive and it is disturbing. Unfortunately, the world is still silent about it. So, and that is why even the security that have been deployed seems to be overwhelmed. But the truth of the matter is, the security is not being overwhelmed. The security is misinformed, and also there's a deliberate attempt to ensure that even when they get there, they don't give their best. Take, for instance, before the deployment of any security to Southern Kaduna, the government come to brief them. And they tell them that, look, it is a clash between this ethnic group and this ethnic group. So the security go to the field with the mindset that they are going to quell a clash between two parties. Unfortunately for them, when they get to the field, these terrorists that are employing a guerrilla warfare, they come in, attack, kill, maim, burn, and retreat without any form of resistance from the security. And that is why you could have a mobile police base situated, let's attack for intervention from the security. So this is a pointer that the security is also complicit. Why? Because they are misinformed and disinformed. So if you ask me, the Nigerian government of today cannot or lack the political will to stop the carnages going on in Southern Kaduna. They lack the will. They lack the will. And that is the most unfortunate part of it, because Their responsibility is the security of lives and property. Unfortunately, they have failed. Unfortunately, they are not ready to live up to this expectation. And that is why we are where we are. Nobody is safe. You could see Kaduna today, people are being kidnapped, people are being killed. Even day before yesterday, sir, a community was attacked by gunmen. And the question is, who are these gunmen? Why can't our government unravel these people? Why can't our government make arrests for these people with which our government go after critics? It's enough to arrest these criminals wherever they are. They are not ghosts. Our people tell us how they see them in the bushes. They see them carrying their guns. Unfortunately, there's nothing anybody can do about it. So there must be a deliberate action. There must be a political will from the government to actually live up to expectation and put a stop to this killing. We are tired. Nobody wants to be killed. Unfortunately, the government is giving excuses instead of putting a stop to the killing. That's what baffles me.
All right.
Our government.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
The passion you have for this topic will allow you to come back during the question and answer series. The next speaker, please. Fidelis Tukura. Fidelis. You can unmute yourself and Fidelis, is he here?
I can't see any. Fidelis Tukura, I can't see anyone.
Okay, next speaker, please. Austin.
Nyam.
I know Austin is here. Austin Nyam. Austin, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Hello, Austin has asked me to step in for him.
Okay, who is speaking now?
My name is Paul Yusuf.
Okay.
Right, go ahead, sir.
The very fundamental issue that we need to face here is the fact that every Nigerian belongs to a tribe. So, for example, you go to Oyo and there is Oyo land and Oyo people. You go to Katsina, it's a Hausa land with Hausa people, Tiv, Igala, and everything. So Southern Kaduna, first and foremost, has to be accorded that same right with any other Nigerian. Because the tribes in Nigeria, in Southern Kaduna, are few in number, that doesn't mean that they do not, every tribe in Southern Kaduna, in all definition, is a nationality in its own, itself. So we have to, first of all, agree somehow that if you go to Hamland, there is Ham people in Hamland. They are not found any other place on earth except in those places. And this is the fundamental thing that we need to analyze, agree, and start on as a foundation for any discussion with anybody else. So some of these Hausa Fulani people, we have never at any time, I'm nearly 70 years old now, I've never at any time known my people to be without Hausa Fulani among us. The Nigerian constitution guarantees everybody the right to live wherever he wants in the country and pursue his life peacefully. So there can never be a Southern Kaduna without the Hausa Fulani, but they have to agree that we are not found in any other part of the planet except in Southern Kaduna. That makes us indigenous to that place. So the next thing is that if that is the case, then the issues that we are dealing with now, there should be a platform where everybody can come and put all the narratives on the table and let us work on where we agree, pick the areas that we agree as a foundation to move forward and then find a way to deal with the things that we do not agree on. Now, the government of Kaduna State, whoever is in Kashim Ibrahim House, has to be part of this process and has to facilitate this process, make it possible for these different communities to come together and be able to work out their differences going forward. If you come to Kashim Ibrahim House as a governor of Kaduna State and spend so much time being belligerent, antagonistic towards a particular side of the state, is either you did not understand the complexity or the dynamics at play in that state before you became a governor, or you arrogantly choose not to engage with the people. Now, because we have over 60-something tribes in southern Kaduna, in the 70s, our elders had vision of saying, okay, community development associations of every community form that community development association. And those community development associations united themselves into what is called Southern Kaduna People's Union. It might not be a perfect arrangement, but for whoever wants to lead Kaduna State as a whole, that union should be a very good thing for you to come and use it, perfect it. If it is not right, then let's talk about it. What do you want to change? But he has sworn never to engage with Sukapo. For whatever reason, only he knows. We are really, really desperate to see that the end of this conflict come. Every time you do something in a haphazard way, you are not going to get the result that we want. So we want once and for all to find a way where the government of Kaduna State will really be serious and the parties will be honest and truthful in their narratives. And we can choose the conversations. We cannot just throw all the conversations and the narratives into one pot and start to deal with them at the same time. It can never happen. Let's pick one issue at a time. Indigenous settlers, bring your narrative, bring your story. My young brother here, Hayab, has given us a lot of history. Hefas is talking about a lot of things. I don't know all those facts, but I know the basic principles on how we can move forward. Everybody should be given a platform to present your story. Let us choose what conversations we want to have and what narratives are involved in these conversations and put them all together and look at them. Otherwise, we will go round and round in circles. Thank you.
We thank you very much, sir, for such a succinct and brief presentation. Very enlightening. Next speaker will be John Paul Kaji, please. I'm sure he's here. John Paul.
Yes, I'm here. I'm very much here. Good evening, Mr. Daniel Alomba and the other hosts. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Beautiful. Let me commend your work by setting up this program, and particularly the title of the series under which this is conducted as Governance Index. It indicates that you hold governments to account and you keep track of what governments are doing in various respects. And peace and security is a very important one. I am going to follow the chronology, or rather the key topics, the key issues, the key words as given by you. The genesis, the politics, and the solution, which you said we shouldn't talk about now. I'll leave that to the end. Southern Kaduna crisis. Now, let me comment what my colleague, Dr. Hayab, said, the foundation he laid. I would want to take it to a broader level because my own doctorate research was in law, but it was multidisciplinary, bringing together history, peace building, constitutionalism, and so on. So, and I used the middle belt of Nigeria as a case study, Kaduna State being just one of the states I used. Now, the genesis of the Southern Kaduna crisis. I will trace the genesis, or rather, I'll categorize it in two. First, the conceptual genesis, and then the practical application, the genesis of that. Now, the conceptual genesis of the Southern Kaduna crisis can be located within the broader framework of how Nigeria's middle belt was treated in colonial policies. And you'll find a lot of hints about that in Lord Lugard's, in the annual reports, most of which was written by Lord Lugard. Particularly, let me refer you to the one of 1900 to 1911, where you see a lot of details. And then to Lugard's dual mandate. So there's a book called The Dual Mandate of British Tropical Africa. And there's also the Tropical Dependency by Flora Shaw, where she actually gave Nigeria its name. Now, there was a dilemma about how to treat various identities. Diversity was a problem for the British people. So they came to this area, they met various ethnic groups with two broadly categorized two civilizations, so to say, according to the British way of thinking, which I would call racist. So they saw the Muslims, whom they categorized as semi-civilized in what they call the science of the races. It's well established and well discussed by Friedrich Hegel, the philosopher. Now, in the science of the races globally are categorized into three: the civilized, the Europeans; the barbarians or semi-civilized, those who came under the influence of some sort of civilization, largely of the Ottoman Empire, but Muslim-based. So those are considered to be second, half civilized. Then the third category were called savages, the Africans, the South Americans, and so on. These were considered to be unworthy of recognition at all. So the only way forward for them was for them to be assimilated into one of the other two categories or subjugated in some other way. That is where the concept of the civilizing mission comes in. And that is why anywhere they went and they found those categorized as barbarians or savages, most especially savages particularly, they declared the land vacant, terra nullius, occupy it. So in Nigeria, it was not possible to bring sufficient British staff to have direct administration. So they used some indigenous structure. And of course, since the semi-civilized, the barbarians, the Muslims were categorized as superior to the savages, the indigenous Africans, a system was devised to, as much as possible, assimilate, bring the non-Muslim populations of the entire Middle Belt under Muslim rule. You see this repeated in the colonial reports, in the dual mandates, in the 1919 Lord Lugard's report on the amalgamation of Nigeria, in the Willing Commission's report of 1958, which defined the northern system as something based on the Emir, on Islam, on the four mainly Muslim ethnic groups of Kanuri, Hausa, Fulani, and Nupe. And then the other ethnic groups are considered peripheral. And then there was a direct policy of trying to subjugate them. So now their resistance is where the conflict can be traced to. Because each time an attempt was made to subjugate the non-Muslims to Muslim rule, they resisted. And this is because they were not really fully conquered by the jihad. When you go to page 77 of the annual reports of 1902, for example, it says, the Fulani never thoroughly conquered the country. They only succeeded in gaining the submission of the great towns and plains where their horsemen were effective. The pagan tribes in the hills and broken country, and even in large areas of the plains, maintained their independence. They were constantly raided for slaves, and they retaliated by attacking the caravans and frequently carried the war up to the gates of the Fulani walled towns. And this ravaged the country. So if you want to trace the practical, we have now gone from the conceptual, telling you about how the science of the races shaped colonial thinking, to the practical, which is trying to subjugate non-Muslims to Muslim structures so that the North will be homogeneous, will be recognized as a Muslim territory. Mr. Host, for example, many people in Igbo land think that once you cross the Niger, you are in Muslim territories. So the identities of these diverse indigenous peoples were obscure, where southern Kaduna falls. Now, when you go to Bauchi State, you find a similar pattern. When you go to Borno State, southern Borno, a similar pattern across that way. Let me take you even to another country where a similar policy was applied. Sudan, northern Sudan, with the Arab-based Muslim population, and South Sudan. And you see how that has played out. If you go to Rwanda, the Tutsis categorized as superior, the Hutus as inferior. So let me leave it at that. There's too much to say for this short period. Then the politics of it, I only mention one thing. Each side in what you call the crisis of Southern Kaduna plays the victim card a lot. There's a gentleman, Sanusi Mekudi, whom I saw his name earlier. I don't know how he disappeared. He talks about how many Muslims are being killed, and the Southern Kaduna people keep showing details, pictures, videos of mass killings along the lines of genocidal trends, I would say. Now, how do you understand the politics of victimhood? in my research, I found it problematic. Everyone is a victim, but you have to find a way of defining victims in a way that makes sense. So I came up with 4 different conceptions of victimhood. So I'll mention 2 of them. One, I call the dispossessed victim, who fights back. The dispossessed victim is the person against whom the system by default is set. The system is set to work against him. Then there is the favored victim, or the dispossessing identity victim. You mustn't be intrinsically, but the system is set in such a way that if you belong to a particular religion or ethnic group, you are by default a dispossessing identity, set or positioned to take over what belongs to another. So the politics of victimhood is something that features in the way that different sides articulate the conflict. Let me conclude by saying that as many scholars like Professor Shiv Visvanathan, my lecturer, and Boaventura Santos said, we have these problems because there is a poverty of ideas on how to manage diversity. There is an overemphasis on the wrong and destructive notion of unity, homogeneous unity, which entails the extermination of the others. And when you trace every genocide in history, it is rooted in that defective way of thinking. Now we have moved beyond that in rhetoric, in language, the language of rights and equality. But we have not overhauled the faulty foundations upon which genocidal trends are being pursued. And there's a lot of scholarship on this. It baffles me how the leadership of this country cannot open its eyes and really open the floor for ideas to come and inspire a total overhaul of this very defective construct called Nigeria, whether in the south, east, southwest, in the middle belt, even in the far north, Zamfara, Katsina, and so on. People are just being killed. Something is fundamentally wrong. But let me pause here and wait for the time when you talk about solutions, because I have a book, my monograph, which is specifically and exclusively about that. And I have a lot to say on that. So thank you very much.
You are highly welcome. We have enjoyed your brilliant analysis of Genesis and the concept. And thank you for reminding our guests that we will still come to the solution towards the end of this discussion. So leave out the solution for now, and then we'll come to the solutions towards the end. Our next speaker will be Dr. Beatrice Kwama, please. Kwamna. Dr. Beatrice, please. You have the floor. If you can unmute yourself and give your presentation. Dr. Gwamna, please. If you'll be able to unmute yourself, please.
He's been spotlighted, I think.
Thank you, sir.
Doctor, are you able to unmute yourself? Doctor, are you able to unmute yourself?
Mazi, is there a way we can unmute? Yes, he has done
so. Okay, he's done so now, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have to admit that I live abroad, and sorry, good evening to you all. It's afternoon here where I live. And I am interested in discussing solutions as opposed to the speculating on the genesis of the crisis that currently faces southern Kaduna, for the simple reason that I don't reside there. And what I know comes from the pages of newspapers and interviews that I have had with other people, with some of my friends and relatives. So I therefore would prefer to discuss solutions to the crisis based on what I have heard, rather than speak to you all on the genesis of this crisis, because I'm sure that there are more, there are others more informed than I am regarding this issue.
Yeah, in that case, Dr. Guamna, we will now prefer to place you when the other speakers have made their presentation. You can now kick off the solution aspect of it, if you don't mind, sir.
That should be fine.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Well, we go on to the next speaker then. Dr. Martin Shinkot, please.
I think I have unmuted myself.
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. I will not go into the genesis, rather I'll go into the politics of what is going on. We have refused to accept the reality that the world is a changing society. We are in a changing society. We have moved from what we were in the 50s and 60s to where we are today. But I think both the government and the other community have refused to realize that our parents have passed things from generation to generation, and we are doing better than what we used to be. So, with education, I think we are beginning to identify a lot of things that we can do to solve our problem. We have lived together with this group for a very long time, but politics has crept in, and I think I blame not only the Hausa Fulani, I blame us too, because we have not been able to bring ourselves together. These things have happened over and over. We have the Zango riot in 1965 after the visit of Sadona. Nobody is talking about that. It happened when Sadona came to Southern Kaduna in 1965. I was just a small boy, probably 2 years, 3 years, or 4. 1965, he launched something that he wanted to. Then, if you join the NPC, then you belong to from Christianity to Islam. And he wanted to convert Southern Kaduna into Islam, but nobody was willing to do that. After he left, there was a riot in Zango in 1966, I think. Many people were in prison and nobody said anything. Nobody has talked about that, but it happened in Zango at that time. That was the time that the Zango people were able to ask the government in power, that is the NPC, to remove the emir, the district head of Zango, who was a Muslim, and install a Christian, and that happened. It didn't happen, but it took them a while for them to do that. It has to be by revolution. Nobody wanted that, but they did. So most of these things have been happening. But if you look at what the trend of things, the riot of Kabanchan in 1988, when I was there, the riot of, we talk about different riots, Zangon Katam, many other places. We seem to have allowed, that is political, we seem to have allowed those things to happen. Why? Because those things happened earlier, and nobody took note of that. They used what they call the divide and rule. They came to us and they were saying, no, we are fighting the Tatars, we are fighting the Boros, we are fighting the Takar, we are having the job of not fighting them. And we allow them to do those things. Yet we have not overcome those things. Those are some things we have to look into. We have to go back to the drawing board and say, no, we have to live as Southern Kaduna people. We are a people that we reckon with. And we have to look at ourselves as one and avoid the political part of it. But if we allow these people to do that, then they are succeeding. And that is what the governor of Kaduna is doing right now. He is using that to say, to do what he's doing. And he's getting away with a lot of things. So I would, the political part of it, and we've had a lot of government that have done that. Have we enjoyed anything in Southern Kaduna? No. Now we want to enjoy it. And they are saying, no, you can't enjoy it now because you've not enjoyed it before. Why should you do it now? And that is some things that we have to go back to the drawing board and start defining ourselves and looking at ourselves as an entity, as a group, rather than saying, I am Katlap, I'm Kagoma, I'm this. We have to find a way of defining ourselves and looking at ourselves as Southern Kaduna past. If we don't do that, trust me, politically, we are not winning, and we will not win. And I want to just say that because I can't talk to the genesis. A lot of people have talked about that. And I have some solution that I will provide. But I will leave it there and I will wait for other people to say a lot of things. Thank you.
We thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. Next speaker, Engineer Dauda Nuhu, please. You can unmute yourself and make your presentation, Engineer. Engineer Dauda Nuhu, please.
I can't appear to see Engineer Nuhu. Is he not here? Oh, okay, I've seen him. You can go ahead, Engineer Nuhu. We can't hear you. It appears you have, Engineer, we can't hear you. Check your mic, please. No. Can anybody hear him?
No, I can't. I think it's his network is fluctuating.
You have to increase the volume, the volume of your PC. You have to increase the volume of your PC.
Or look for the button that says mute or unmute.
I think
no, he's unmuted.
He's unmuted. I think it's his network.
Engineer, are you there?
Okay, so I think, Dan, while he's trying to figure that out, can we move to the next person, please? So
yes, Engineer, let's take Chibeze and then we come back to this, if you don't mind. Chibeze, please, if you can make your presentation, and then we can go back to Engineer Dauda after you have finished.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Chibeze.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. It's this whole Southern Kaduna issues. This whole Southern Kaduna issues is really first of all, my heart goes out to all the lives, all the families affected with this whole crisis, and I want to use this opportunity and also tell everybody that this whole matter is not just Southern Kaduna; it's the whole of Nigeria. This whole crisis that we are going through right now is the whole of Nigeria. Just this recent pandemic, a lot of trailers were caught with plenty Fulani trying to migrating towards southeast. But it's also, let's go back to Southern Kaduna. It's also a good thing because I saw some platforms where a lot of they have been trying to make peace, for the past 1 or 2 days, which I don't really right now. I'm not in support of that peace because, like Dr. Martin said, it's very political right now. And after Southern Kaduna make this peace, then what's next? People are dying in Zamfara. People are dying all over the places. So you cannot talk about peace if you're not talking about Nigerian military. So no matter how much you are talking about peace here, peace there, there is no peace without Nigerian military involved in this conversation, involved in this whole solution matters, because our military that we are depending on, they are being neglected at the same time. So who is left over there to defend us? Even the security that they are talking about now in Nigeria. Okay, what can the security do? In Sambisa Forest, they have to go, Nigerian military have to go with the civil vigilantes just to do and get some things done because they are short of military help. Nigeria is very short of military help, military equipment, military of everything. So the best thing for now is that, I've been asking so many people, I've spoken with so many people about this whole Southern Kaduna matters, and so far, there is no solution. There is nothing is going on right now in Nigeria. So I don't know. I don't know how we'll have to, do this, because every region will have to protect themselves. The whole Nigeria right now is in chaos. We have bad governance all over the country, all over the place. Not just Southern Kaduna, not just, people are dying everywhere. So I don't know how we are supposed to be attacking this situation now, because even me, as I'm here, I'm even confused, because while we are waiting, people are dying. I have tried my best. I'm here in the United States, Houston, Texas, precisely. And I want to thank Mr. Daniel for actually bringing me to this show. I want to also let everybody know that, even in the United States here, me and some friends, we have been thinking and cracking our brains. What do we do? Do we call for protest? Do we call for this? And then so many Nigerians are nonchalant about the whole situation because it's not happening on their doorsteps. So what do we do after that one? Even the NBA that they are talking about, after the NBA now charge, if NBA shouldn't have rejected El Rufai, they should have brought him in and grilled him and asked him questions. How else are we supposed to, if we let our emotions just take over the whole killing that is going on in Nigeria in general, then we'll be making mistakes, and we keep talking about security issues, but I haven't heard anybody say anything about our military. We need our military. We need equipment. We need military equipment. We need our military. We need people to come out there, go down to the north, fight. There's a rumor that I heard on one of your interviews, Mr. Daniel. Somebody was saying that in 2022 there is a rumor that there will be civil war in Nigeria. What have we done about that? We haven't done anything about that. ISIS, Al Qaeda, America has been giving alerts. We haven't done anything. We haven't even said anything right now that is going to really affect lives, besides Southern Kaduna. People are migrating. Just this pandemic alone, over 100, over 300 Fulanis were caught migrating to Southeast. Okay. And all they did was turn them around. No security, no nothing. So our Nigerian, everybody is just playing emotions and, how these people are killing, how it's killings all over. We are all victims. Every Nigerian is a victim. Every Nigerian is a victim. Let's not play sentiments here and find out solutions on how we can make our country good, great, if that is what I'm here for. So I will take my time for now until it comes back to me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Engineer Nuhu, can we try again, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. We thank you, Chibweze, for this presentation, for extrapolating what is happening in Kaduna to the rest of the country. We will come to that later on in the question and answer series as well. We have our next speaker, Mr. Luka Biniat. Mr. Biniat, please, if you can unmute yourself and make a presentation. Is Luka here?
Luka Biniat, hold on. I thought I saw Biniat before. I can't see Biniat. So Dan, I think if you don't mind, let's try Engineer Dauda Nuhu once more.
Yes, sorry.
Please,
I forgot about that.
Engineer Nuhu, can you please try once more, see if your audio is sorted out? Is he still here?
Yes, he is. Engineer Nuhu, please, if you can unmute yourself and try again, sir.
I can't seem to find him anymore. No.
I can see him, Engineer Dauda Nuhu, isn't it? Yes,
okay, can you spotlight him, please?
I have tried to. His video is turned off and he's muted.
Engineer, can you please turn on your video and take the floor, please?
Or if the network is not good and you can turn on your audio, then you can speak without video if the network is not the best.
Okay, he's raising his hands now. So we can, yes, you're...
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Engineer Nuhu, please.
He's been spotlighted, but it appears he's not aware he's on the phone.
Actually on the phone.
Okay. So, okay.
All right. Let's have, okay, I think.
Biniat is not here. Then that should be the next person will be Mr. Philip Moses.
Yeah, hello, gentlemen. It's good evening or good morning. It's afternoon here in Minnesota. How are you, sir?
We are fine. Moses.
I'm not sure if you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So you wanted me to comment about the ongoing situation in Southern Kaduna. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I think my submission, I think, would be one of the main reasons why we have this issue is conscientious inhumanity that have existed in Kaduna State for quite a while, where people from Southern Kaduna State are treated like less of a human, less of a person, and that over time have generated this situation where this constant crisis. I think fellow brothers in Northern Kaduna, as we live here overseas, we often decry racism. And when you look back at home, you find systemic racism even existing at home. And that is one of the reasons why there's been a lot of agitations, even in the southern part of Nigeria, for the Biafran state. But when we live in a country where we're not respected, nobody feels to have an equal stake as any other citizen in the country. That is bound to generate a lot of controversies and a lot of crises. And even the situation where, of course, over time, people have been accepting others to come and be settlers. And it turns out that the settlers now want to take away the lands of the original owners of the land that have allowed them the chance and opportunity to come and settle amongst them to earn livelihood. So these are all issues that have sort of convoluted to the chaos that we're currently experiencing in Kaduna State.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. I thought maybe you still we'll come back to some of the question and answer series later on. Mr. Hanatu, no, I don't think it's Mr. Hanatu Watson, please. I don't know whether she's here.
I think that's a miss.
Sorry? Yeah, it's a miss.
Yeah. Hanatu, are you here? Okay, if we don't have Mrs. Hanatu, can we have Gloria Sani Yakusak?
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, sorry, who is speaking now? Sorry.
Sorry, Gloria Sani Yakusak is speaking.
Oh, okay. You're welcome, man.
Thank you. Sorry, I joined you very late. I have some problem that makes me not to be able to join on time. My presentation here is here in Kaduna, in Southern Kaduna, the killing has become so much big problem that we are not yet sure of the solution. Nobody is sure of what is happening. Until you are in the site where this thing is happening, you actually know what is happening. The truth about the matter is, you stay with people thinking they are friends, they are families. The next day, they turn out to be people slaughtering you. You see a lot of women made to be young widows, a lot of children, young youths killed. From nowhere, many people were made to be orphans without without the government doing anything about it. There's insecurity that no one can say about it. Even where the security is there, nobody is giving people protection. In the midst of curfew, people are still killed. You wonder what is happening to the security. Now, the problem again is, who are these people? Nobody is convicting anybody. Nobody is picking somebody responsible for it. Even where they get somebody, before you know it, they are free. They'll be on the street again moving. And right now, our problem is the media are not saying exactly what is happening on the site. Unless for those that are lucky to use their handsets and records what is happening, then people get to know. In your house, you are not sure of what is happening. You are not free. They come to kidnap you. They come to kill you in the house, yet no security. Nobody is sure of his security right now. And if there's a sitting government and something like this is happening, then who will protect who? That is our question today. And that is our worrisome today. Please, we want something to be done about this. Also, when you look at it, when the government said it was a reprisal for how long? What do we do, or what do we want? The question today is, who is standing for whom? If we choose a government, we want somebody to stand for us. The government should not be one-sided. The government should be for everybody. And now, if the government that we hope will stand for us will not now stand for Southern Kaduna, is only staying for one side, then everybody is in trouble in Southern Kaduna. Nobody is sure of himself. Now, our leaders are there to advise us not to go into violence. But then we can't sit in the house and be killed like that. Let's just look into it and see. This is my little presentation that we should look into it. When it's time for solution, I think I will come up with some other points. Thank you, sir.
We thank you very much. I'm going to go back to Engineer Dauda Nuhu if it's available. Or if not, if Engineer Nuhu is not available now, we can ask a few questions before we move on to the solution.
I think, sorry. Okay, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
Nuhu is no longer here.
Yeah, is there a speaker that we missed that is now back? If you're the speaker, please. We missed your presentation.
We missed Fidelis Tukura.
Yes.
Do we have Mr. Tukura now? No.
If you can permit me to say this at this point, I've listened to this presentation we've been having in the past 60 minutes. I will make an observation, and I don't know whether it's correct. In Southern Kaduna, there appears to be a climate of fear. In as much as there is a wide reportage in the media about what is happening, it appears that the victims are sometimes reluctant to come out and speak about their experiences. Right from the time I picked interest in Southern Kaduna, I've heard personal stories of people who underwent severe suffering. A guy told me about how his father went out to hunt in the bush, was arrested as a terrorist, tortured, killed. All his efforts to find out what happened to his father till date for the past 2 years have been fruitless, and several other stories like that. Then secondly, another thing I want to ask is this. There appears to be a discrepancy between what is exactly happening. I interviewed Senator Shehu Sani on this subject. Sani was saying that there are killings outside Southern Kaduna as well. So if there are killings happening outside Southern Kaduna as well, what is really happening in Southern Kaduna? Is it communal conflict? Is it bandit attacks? Or are there terrorists being imported from elsewhere who are committing criminality and killing people? So if there is a speaker that will address this matter, please. Do you think that what is happening in Southern Kaduna is, one, is it communal conflict? Even though it has been touched, but let us be clear about that. Is it communal conflict? Is it bandit attacks? Or terrorists coming in from Mali, Mauritania, and other places that is carrying out these killings in Southern Kaduna? Dr. Kajit, please.
Thank you. Now, I'll address this question. You asked about what is happening. Is it banditry? Is it... Now, first of all, let me make it clear that different sides see what is happening differently. If you listen to the narrative of the group called Sokamuda, Southern Kaduna Muslims, their narrative is that they founded some towns in Southern Kaduna, and the other people that, according to them, call themselves indigenes, then came subsequently, and so on. Now, what they're trying to do by that narrative is to establish a paradigm of, because being indigenous has been recognized to be very important. So they're trying to establish a paradigm that falls in line with that. Meanwhile, the indigenes are totally dumbfounded by this very preposterous claim, because all history is it's overwhelmingly clear. The history of the Hausa states, whether you look at the narrative that talks about the Hausa Bokwe, Banza Bokwe, and when exactly the Fulanis migrated into the West African sub-region, Guinea, Senegal first, coming from North Africa, specifically the area that, because you see, this is the most comprehensive story you probably find about the Fulani, the tropical dependency by Flora Shaw. She was not just the wife of Lugard, she was a scholar, a researcher, a historian, an anthropologist. And she has done the most extensive work I've seen about the Fulani. So there's a very clear timeline about when they migrated into Senegal, Gambia, and when they came to northern Nigeria, Sokoto, Daura, and so on. And the Hausa states know exactly where the boundaries are. Now, this is where the confusion comes in the narrative of the Muslims. These towns that they claim they established, Katia, Zango, Kafanchan, and so on. Let me extend it to the Middle Belt. Wasi, Nasarawa, Ilorin, and so on. Some of these places were there as either products of the jihad, like Ilorin, which was clearly the victory of Alimi, with the conniving Yoruba general who defected. But in the case of Southern Kaduna, many of these places, Zango means a temporary place to stop over for travelers. Hausas were traders. There's an article written by this professor, Long Distance Trade. You see all those details there. So it was a stopover. But when the colonial masters came, when you read their accounts, you see that Hausa was very important to them. Islam was important to the colonial masters. So they needed to establish Muslim towns across the Middle Belt as centers for administrative control. So anywhere they found the smallest community that speaks Hausa language, that adheres to Islam, that is not pagan, which they abhorred, or savage as they call them, they elevated that place to a status where it could execute or be used as a site from which to administer the pagans. Now, let me refer you to a book you will find very, very interesting. This is called The Tailed Headhunters of Nigeria, an account of an official 7 years experiences. One of the British officers, Arthur Newman Tremaine, who was an administrator in the area, in a particular instance, he told about how he went to subdue a particular pagan tribe. I don't use the word tribe because they are nations by all definitions, having a language, an ancestral land, a culture, and so on. So upon return to Jama and Daroro, that's the Muslim town, the Muslims hailed him, were praising him and singing his praises for subjugating the infidels that they themselves could not defeat. So when you listen to the accounts of those who say the Muslim communities, Hausas, Fulanis, that say they founded towns in southern Kaduna, they do not go beyond 1900. They run parallel with the colonial experience. And that's where I will commend the work of one professor, Professor Moses Ochonu. It's unfortunate that himself and Governor Nasir El-Rufai don't get along very well. But Nasir El-Rufai could tap a lot from the work of Professor Moses Ochonu. One of them he called colonialism within colonialism. Double colonialism in the Middle Belt. Whereas the rest of the country, Yoruba land, Igbo land, and so on, were colonized by the British. In the case of the Middle Belt, communities that were not adherent to Islam or close to some of the cultural fabric of the Muslim communities, they needed to be colonized twice. First of all, subjugated to the northern identity, Muslim, Hausa, and so on, and then to the British. Now, the British have left. But the vestiges of the second layer of that colonialism remains. So what you call the clash is an attempt to continue to implement that blueprint designed by Lugard by the Muslim North and the resistance by the indigenes. So it is not, it is, in fact, this gives you more light about the indigenes are correct, entirely correct to see it as an attempt to eliminate them. Why? Because for you to establish a homogeneous North that speaks one language, that adheres to one religion, that has one outlook, a kind of a total wipeout of diversity, you need to commit genocide. And so anyone who says there's an attempt to commit genocide against them is correct. But in the process, the aggressors, you know, the law of nature, self-defense, nobody can make a law against it. If somebody comes and holds you this way, you punch at him. So occasionally you find the Muslims being killed as well. That's why I call them dispossessing identity victims. Whereas the other one, the indigenous, I call them dispossessed identity victims, structurally. So that's how I'll throw light about how to understand what is happening. So I guess you can draw deductions from that. Thank you. All right.
Any other speaker on this topic, please, on this question? You can indicate by using the device to raise your hand so that, or you can simply unmute yourself and, yes, Philip, please, Philip John.
Connection for next joining. I was wondering if I got Dr. Kaduna was speaking about this process. I read the headhunters. Some of these papers actually the very
Sadly, Philip, we can't hear you. Sorry, Philip, we can't hear you properly. You have a lot of background.
So maybe my network isn't completely. Can you hear me now?
Yes, slightly better.
The conversation, like yes,
all right, Philip. Let's take another speaker, please. Another speaker, please, and then you can come back later on. Yeah. Muhammad Ali Baba, please. Do you have a question, or are you trying to comment on the question on the floor? Muhammad Ali Baba.
Well, my just like I observed, because I stumbled on the topic belatedly, so I joined in a bit late. But I feel the composition itself of this distinguished audience is already one-sided. That's what I'm saying. Because if we say there is a conflict, a crisis going on, you expect a balance of opinion, you know, of the both protagonists, so to say, and then each perspective will be listened to, so that when we are proposing solutions, you hear from both sides of the divide as it is. It's an unfortunate, recurring crisis, but we can do without it once we are open. But we will only understand and be open if both sides are able to give account, their own perspectives. then we'll understand, and then we can start providing solutions from a more balanced perspective. That is how I see this. By and large, you realize that one side of the crisis, is dominant in this narrative. So ultimately, the solutions will come from that same side. It won't be balanced.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that observation. I think much effort was put in place to make it balanced, but again, you couldn't force people to join a conversation if provisions were made for that to happen. That's why actually you see that we have 13 speakers planned for this, in order to have that broader view.
And if I may also add to that, Sanusi Mekudi initially we made efforts to have the other inhabitants of Southern Kaduna as well, who doesn't belong to just one side, to speak on the program. Sanusi initially agreed, and we tried to get some more, but when he noticed that he appears to be the only Muslim, I would say, who agreed to join this panel, he backed out again and said he would rather appear alone or just with one other person. So he said he would like to appear tomorrow, but at the same time, 7 p.m., he will be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. again. We are still trying to get one other Christian who will be with him, but we haven't, because all of them are already here. We haven't managed to get one who will appear tomorrow. So we'll use this opportunity to ask again if any of the speakers would like to appear tomorrow with the Sanusi Mekudi. That will be fine. But thank you for the observation. It's well taken. So let's proceed. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And before we do that, I think I've noticed that Felix. Oh, I think Felix is gonna Fidelix. Oh, sorry. I think I noticed that Fidelix is now here.
Yes, Fidelix.
Yes. Can you please unmute yourself and make your contribution, please? Fidelix? Okay, Dan, you can go ahead. I think that's not happening.
Okay, Engineer Nuhu, let's move on to the solutions now, because as we discuss the solution, there will be more topics, more questions that will come along the line. So solutions. Let's take again, I think, Mazi, do you have the name of the gentleman who, I think it's Dr. Bitrus.
We had, the one that said we had Dr. Bitrus Gwamna.
Yes.
So Bitrus Gwamna is the one that's going to take the lead on the solutions. So Bitrus, please, can you unmute yourself? You've been spotlighted. Okay, sorry. Can someone else? Let's go.
Okay, Fidelis is raising his hand now. Fidelis, are you able to unmute yourself?
Fidelis, can you unmute yourself?
This is Martin.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh, network.
Yes, Fidelix, we can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry I come a little bit late. Let me know so a little bit. I came late. I'll just close from office now. Though I've not been hearing the discussion being made, I just joined now. But concerning the solution to this issue, in fact, number one solution, I would suggest is creation of states. Creation of state would be number one solution, because what I'm saying here is leadership power that is the problem in this issue. And just like the elite, if you want to take over a particular side, they can create confusion in that side just to divert the attention of people for them to get the way in. So to me, solution to this issue, creation of states is a solution. And I also call of the Southern Kadunas, let's join our head together. Let's unite. Let's love one another. Because with this issue, there's a word in Hausa that says, Yaki baya cin gari, sai tare da dan gari. I'm sorry for those that cannot understand what I'm saying, but a war cannot be won in a particular side if there is not an indigenous of that place that join in the war. So the war that is here, possibly there are those who are indigenous of Southern Kaduna that are putting their heads there, who are sabotage to the security of the area. So I'm calling on the Southern Kaduna, so let's join our hand and love one another. Desist from whatever tidbit they will give you just to deceive you, to make a way for them to penetrate. Thank you, or contribute further.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
That was Fidelix Tukura.
Yes, sir.
So, then go ahead.
I'm sorry. I apologize. This is Vitrus Gwamna. I apologize if you had called me and I wasn't there.
Okay.
I have just returned.
Okay, Beatrice, can you go ahead? Okay.
Yeah, I certainly would want to suggest the following. That those of us who live in the diaspora, especially sorry. Yeah, I belong to the Southern Kaduna in the diaspora, the USA branch, and we have from time to time sent monies to displaced groups, those in displaced camps in Kaduna, to provide to help with foodstuffs. We've also tried to provide equipment to help with the education of our kids, by providing school supplies, knowing fully well that the people of Southern Kaduna have lacked the kind of materials that are needed to fund the education of our kids. But for the solutions to the current crisis, we believe that our chiefs, that is the various chiefdoms, the leaders that head these chiefdoms should get together to speak among themselves so that they can present a united front. Now, we know that the Constitution has not made any provision for traditional rulers, emirs and chiefs, but they don't need the Constitution to be able to get together and speak with each other, dialogue with each other, so that they can have a common front. Now, there are said to be 30 different ethnic groups in Southern Kaduna. So Hausa and English become the lingua franca for all of these groups, which therefore means that they do not have any reason not to be able to dialogue with each other. Second of all, I think that we do need media houses to pay more attention to the activities of the people of Southern Kaduna. We certainly need a radio station there that would provide a means by which these individuals, people of Southern Kaduna, can articulate their views about events. I think it was Dr. Hayab who made us realize that we have always have, I actually Paul Yusuf, who reminded all of us that we have always had Hausa Fulani the Hausa Fulani ethnicity, in all major and even villages, major towns and even villages in the state, which means therefore that since we can relate to them in Hausa, and we do relate to them in Hausa, we should be able to speak with them also so that they can understand then that when we cooperate with each other, then there will not be any it will be difficult for outsiders to infiltrate that unity, then break us. So we do need, the media to pay more attention to whatever happens there. We do need, if not a television station, but even a radio station, that would allow our people to dialogue with each other, to realize, the ties that bind them, and wish too that our politicians would have a more positive role in the affairs of the society and the affairs of the various communities, rather than take care of their very narrow political interests. If these do happen, I think that we are on the road, towards becoming a more united organization. The military, certainly, we need their presence there. Perhaps they could incorporate, they could encourage the formation of groups to help with community, policing. That way, you can ferret out, or you can, it's sad to know that that people don't seem to know where the terrorists or the bandits hide. But I think that if we have community policing, you have vigilante groups, to provide the information the military need, to react to any terrorist threats. I think, these would be, solutions that I know that I would suggest, and I know that my own group, the Southern Kaduna Diaspora, would certainly espouse.
Thank you. So okay. So thank you very much for that brilliant submission. Can we have Austin? Oh, okay. I think Austin Yam sent someone, I think. Can you remind me?
He's raising his hand now. So
That will be.
Okay, hold on.
I'm Paul Yusuf again.
Okay.
Because Mr. There.
Yes.
The solutions, as we're thinking of right now, is to create some sort of leadership, as has been alluded by Dr. Governor. You see, I would like to see people like Philip Hayat and Dr. Kaji working together, who has got this historical background narratives, so that we, the Southern Kaduna people, need to come together and have a common narrative that every Southern Nigerian British, every indigent of Southern Kaduna will key into that narrative, and then we should decide what conversations that should be had. Now, if, for instance, the governor of Kaduna State is refusing to engage with SUKAPO, which is the umbrella body of Southern Kaduna people at the moment, let all Southern Kaduna people come together and find out why the governor wouldn't engage with SUKAPO. What is the problem? What do we have to do for him to engage with SUKAPO? Because we are different nationalities that have come together as under one umbrella. This should make it easy, simplify the job of whoever is ruling Southern Kaduna or ruling Kaduna State as a whole, so that we can present a common narrative, and let us take one conversation at a time. Because the way we're dealing with the issue that hasn't worked before, when we talk about Southern Kaduna, we call the Hausa Fulani, they bring all sorts of stories, how the conflict they had with one particular nationality mixed up with the one that they had with other nationality in 20 years ago and 5 years ago, they put them all together in one basket, it can never make sense. So let us first of all pick one item, one conversation, and send representatives to bring all the narratives that are as divergent as they may be. Bring all those narratives to that particular conversation and find a way to get the government to adjudicate on these discussions, these conversations that we are having. Once we have established this very sensitive issue of indigenous settlers, we have to make that very clear that every Nigerian has a tribe and a tribal ancestral land, and that applies to all the nationalities in southern Kaduna. We may be few in our numbers, but this is where we have to work. I mean, this is the solution. I believe that we have to pick a conversation and deal with that aspect of indigenous. We may not agree immediately, but let's find areas where we agree and start working from that point upwards. Once we have dealt with the settlers indigenous situation, then we will look at everybody knows his father's house, everybody knows his father's farm. So I don't see what the issue is. Okay? So once we face things at conversations and narratives compartmentally and work on that, take one compartment, take one issue, put it on the table, deal with it. But right now, where we are at, we need to have a coherent leadership of Southern Kaduna people. And then we need to get the government to engage with that group that we have all come, that umbrella that we have all come under. So this is where we're supposed to work very seriously. High up, and the other gentleman, the other doctor there, Kaji, these are just two people that I have seen here who have got all the information that I may want to get from them. Now, we, the people in the diaspora here, Beatrice is talking in America. We here in Britain, we have a Southern Kaduna people in diaspora in Europe. We have been to the United Nations. We have sent people to the United Nations to go and speak our case there. I have been to the House of Commons many times to speak with Baroness Cox on what is happening in Nigeria. And you can see some papers that they have released based on those conversations we've been having. Now, if we go as Southern Kaduna people and raise this issue, and then the international community come to Southern Kaduna to come and see what is happening, they will come and find we are not coherent. So I will probably be embarrassed when they come back here and say to me, oh, I thought that you were an organized group of people dealing with these issues. So our narrative has to be the same. And we have to dictate and choose what conversations we are having. Yes, we can make all the noise in the world. We can take our case to anywhere. We can even take El-Rufai to the Hague. But we have to have a leadership. We have to have a conversation. We have to have narratives. And we have to decide that and don't let anybody tell our stories for us. This is what I think the way to go for.
Thank you very much. I think while
let me apologize at this point. I know there are still people who are raising up their hand to ask questions, but please, going from what Mr. Yusuf have just said, let me ask this question. Why has it been difficult, in your opinion, sir? Why has it been difficult for Nasser El-Rufai to start making an attempt? We have seen people attempt, but why has it been difficult for him to work with Sokapu, for instance? What is the problem? What do you think?
I think one of the reasons, from my looking at it from my personal point of view, people like El-Rufai, you have to understand the person you're dealing with. If he wants his ego to be massaged or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, if I get what I want, sitting down and ask El-Rufai, how can you have so much disdain? There must be something there that he wants. Okay, what do you want? What does it take to make you talk to us? Someone said to me, oh, don't bother talk to El-Rufai. He has made up his mind. Nothing will ever change his mind. There must be something that can change his mind. We go to him and say to him, okay, El-Rufai, what must we do for you to engage with us? We are not doing this thing for self-glorification. We are doing this thing because we genuinely want peace. We want progress. We want to exist freely like any other Nigerian. Just because there are few people in my nationality, let's call it a tribe. I hate to call it a tribe. In my nationality, that Nigeria is a combination of many nationalities. So my nationality is small. Does that mean I don't have the same right as the Yoruba nationality or the Igbo nationality or the Hausa nationality? No. So because I realize that I'm so small, and there are a few of us bound together in this geographical area. Let's help you out, government. We are going to form a union so that you can deal with one union instead of dealing with all the 30 or 40 or 50 nationalities there. So that should be applauded. The government should be happy that we're doing that. So if he is not engaging, then people like Erufai will go to him and say, okay, all the other governments, they engage with Sukapo. There must be something that you have seen wrong with Sukapo that you don't want to engage. Please, can you tell us what that is and what must we do to get you to engage? I don't know if anybody has ever approached him in that way. Because all the wrongs in the world cannot make a right. If I sit here and say, okay, Erufai is not going to talk to me, I'm not going to talk to him. We're not going to get anywhere, deadlock. But if we go to him and say, okay, look, tell us what we must do so that you can talk to us. I think that is another way to approach it. It might not be the best, but to me, that's the only way I can think of.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hello.
Hold on, please. Who is speaking?
This is Philip. I've actually had issues with the network, as I already told you, that I was on transit.
And that?
Yeah, do you mind? Let me just raise an observation. Let me make it like a point of information.
You can, but your connection is still not the best.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fine. Okay.
So try. I mean, okay. Can you?
Shall I?
Okay,
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can, but let's see if we can manage that for a couple of minutes, please.
All right, that's fine.
Go ahead. We're listening. Well, yes.
Okay. Now, the first is that there is no ethnic group in Nigeria as Hausa Fulani. It's very important that we should know this. There is no way that somebody can be Hausa and Fulani at the same time. We are patrilineal. So if a person is Hausa, I know of the Hausa Bokwe. That is Gobir, Kanu, Rano, Zazau, Biram, and one other one, I think Gaura. Now, after that, the Fulani, the group that is called Fulani is Fulbe. They migrated from the Senegambia area and came into this place. And then that is why one of the reasons that Erufai is so disturbed about the people of Southern Kaduna is that he's not quite sure of his origin as we are sure of our origin. We have a history. So it is we who have actually walked a narrative by accepting that some can be Hausa Fulani. If my father is Yoruba and my mother is Ham, can I be Ham Yoruba? Why is somebody Hausa Fulani? There's no two. Hausa is the language of a Afroasiatic language. Fulfulde is a different language. It has no connection with Nigeria or what was to become Nigeria. Now that they have come here, we are here. The Constitution of Nigeria says that the person who is Nigerian is the person whose great-grandparents or grandfather was who lived in the geography that is now today. Now, if we're together and we're equal citizens, he must listen to us as a people. We don't have to go cap in hand begging for Erufai to listen to us. One thing that I'm sure is that his government, whether he is here for 8 years, is going to come to an end. And one day we're going to have a government that will listen to us like we had a Makarfi government that listened to us. Makarfi's government that listened to us. I mean, we had a Namadi's government that listened to us. He will not be here forever. Whatever it is, there's going to be an end to this kind of subjugation that one person has decided to do over people who have a history.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Can we, I think Austin Nyang is actually here. Somehow he's raising his hand. So Austin, if you're there, can you please make it brief?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So you've got two slots now. Your delegate and yourself are
I'm just on my my delegate is in charge. I'm just on personal ground there. I just want to chip in.
Okay.
And I just want to talk about a solution because this is a vast topic to deal with. In terms of solution, when you want to make peace with someone, you need to actually know who is attacking you, why they are attacking you, and will they stop attacking you? Okay? In this case, we had so many peace declarations. Okay? Now, we had the Convention Peace Declaration, and even in Atiaplan, we've had another peace declaration. And after those couple of those declarations, a lot of people have died afterwards. Now, we need to know who we are making peace with, who is actually representing those people that we will make peace with. Now, are we making peace with terrorists? Or are we making peace with bandits? Or we are making peace with reprisal killers? So those people need to identify which group they belong to, so that tomorrow they will not come back and say, "Oh, we were not the one that attacked you this time around." Now, if you know about Kaduna very well, yeah, there are other places that killings happen and it's still ongoing. But have you ever heard that the people of Southern Kaduna are claiming land right in Zaria and are attacking Zaria people? So this thing is deliberately orchestrated. Unfortunately, I had wanted the other side to be here. I would have loved the government rep to have been here, so that those are they are the ones that can answer these questions. Okay, but the thing is, it is from the body language of Nasu and the way he's address his approach this issue, you will know that there is a conspiracy behind this thing. There is a conspiracy behind this thing, because they will attack even if when you call the security agencies and inform them there's an impending attack, they will not go there until after the attack, and now they will stop you from any sort of reprisal. Okay, so it is a systematic genocide going on in Southern Kaduna. There's no truth about it. There is no any other word about it. What is happening in Southern Kaduna, it is deliberate. It is not a mistake. It is not some people that are, you can't come to my. Do you know what's going to happen if I load a trailer of pigs to Zaria and just look at one land and just dump them there and begin my pig farm there? Do you know what's going to happen? They will not only destroy the pigs, they will destroy me as well. So how dare you come into my land, my ancestral land, with your heads of cows, eat up the crops, and say, beat me up and say I shouldn't talk. Okay, so this thing, and like Dr. Melafia said, it's not today; it has been ongoing. Northern governors supply aids to those terrorists.
Okay.
They've been doing that for ages.
Thank you very much.
Now, for the solution, we need to know who is killing us. We need to know why they're killing us. And we need to know if they're going to stop. You cannot just sign a peace pact with a ghost. It doesn't work that way. And the only body that can sign a peace pact from Southern Kaduna is not a particular community. No, it is the Sokapu. And Nasuru knows that. But because he doesn't want to lower his ego, and that's why he's doing what he's doing, he has made it clear that he would never deal with Sokapu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think Dr. Kajit is raising his hands once more. Kajit, can you make it brief, please?
Yes. Straight to solutions. Let me begin by saying that in my research, I analyzed the attempts to find solutions in the past. And I categorize those attempts as a complete failure in the past, in the present, and in the future, because nothing can stand on nothing. Nothing, when there is no foundation, nothing can stand. Ex nihil, nihil fit, as they say in Latin. So I identified 3 measures that have been deployed to build peace, not just in Kaduna, but in Nigeria, in the Middle Belt. The security measures, pre-conflict, during conflict, and post-conflict. The judicial measures, commissions of inquiry, court trials, and so on. And the conciliatory measures, where you have signing of peace agreements, meetings, and saying, oh, we love each other. And everyone returns without the real issues being touched. And what happens? Within a short time, everything goes in blazes. Now, the essence of this first point is to show that the efforts being focused on have not worked and are not likely to work. They are based on a post-conflict idea of peace building. They are not interested in touching the root issues. Secondly, we have some suggestions that are being made. First, state creation. About this, it may work to an extent, but you remember this issue is beyond Southern Kaduna. It's even encroaching deep into Zamfara and so on. So state creation may bring limited succor, which would be great to some, to many. Others have talked about the idea of defining indigenship and settlership more clearly. This is a very important point within the existing framework, but it's not the ultimate solution. Within the existing framework, the definition of indigents and settlers is so mixed up that anybody can move in anywhere. And like the recent residency law that El-Rufai and the governor, His Excellency El-Rufai, is trying to bring into force in Kaduna State only, to the exclusion of all other states in the country. You can come from anywhere, reside for some time, go and register as a resident, and that is the basis for your recognition. All indigenship is ipso facto abolished. Now, in the present constitutional structure, there is ample opening for the elimination, genocidal annihilation of entire ethnic groups based on the framework that exists. The law is not equipped to protect anyone. And in fact, it is a catalyst for conflict. It allows anyone to go anywhere and claim anything. And of course, you know that those who belong there will fight. And in many cases, there are double standards that has been indicated by one of the speakers. Now, my idea of a solution is not even the idea of a clumsy articulation of restructuring as a constitutional lawyer and a political philosopher. I have seen the different articulations of restructuring, the CONFAB 2014, the APC report on True Federalism 2018, chaired by my governor, Nasir El-Rufai, as well. Now, these two have a serious loophole as far as Southern Kaduna is concerned, which I indicated in the book I mentioned and whose link I shared. I analyzed the two reports. Both reports recommend the elimination of indigenship from Section 147 of the 1999 Constitution. That is an indirect legitimation of the elimination of many indigenous communities. My idea of a solution is a new constitutional framework, which is to be built upon the ruins of what we are seeing today. The present structure was built based on a racist philosophy, propounded by people we know very well. I named Flora Shaw as the number one person, Lugard as the next. The people who are trying to implement that today are merely secondary to the real primary coiners of this philosophy of extermination and homogenization. What is needed is a new socio-political construct and a new constitutional order in which every distinct identity is recognized as a full human, respected and recognized in the Constitution. And that will mean doing away with the nation-state construct and coming up with a state construct in which every identity will see itself protected directly, expressly, explicitly. And there are many works in this, and this is why in my work you see me talking about the plurinational constitutional design. With this design, the state is bound. Even the very nature, the architecture, the cartography of the state, the political cartography or mapping, and the structures of governance are fashioned in such a way that these problems are eliminated entirely. Let me stop at that. So that's what my solution would be.
Thank you very much for that solution profile. Can we bring in? We're just running out of time now. Can we bring in Stephen? Stephen, please, your solution and your concluding thought at the same time. Can you unmute yourself, Stephen?
Yes, sorry, I have to put off my video because of network.
Okay.
I want to quickly drop. Rulers in southern Kaduna seem to be under some sort of executive terrorism, blackmail. What I mean is that they are under pressure, undue pressure from the government to go into certain arrangement that doesn't hold. I think because of what happened to the traditional rule of 26 to be precise, a lot of these traditional rulers and people where the victims of their villages, they were not invited to this parley, while in the paramount ruler and vice because it can't stand. And that is why we are where we are. Between 2015 and date, in fact, I've any traditional rulers of Southern Kaduna extraction.
Stephen, sadly, I will let you go. Your connection is really, really so poor. And
so we have a dangerous.
Stephen, sorry, your connection is not playing along. We just have to quickly move on. 2 minutes for your conclusion, for your solution, Dr. Martin Shinkut, right? If Dr. Martin is still here, please.
I have unmuted myself.
Okay,
yes.
Go ahead, Dr. Martins, please.
Yes, because this thing has been happening for a long time, I feel there's a need for us to come together. We have to see ourselves as an entity. Creation of state is not going to solve our problem. Trust me. Until we are able to come together, to work together and see ourselves as one entity. Southern Kaduna, we have different chiefdoms. We have to bring our chiefs and our elders together and sit in one table and be able to talk. Not only talking, but we should come out with something that will help us, that will protect us. These people have been doing this for a long time. And because they've been doing it for a long time, they feel that it is a right to do it the way they are doing it now. Our parents, our forefathers did not respond very well. We are responding now because we are a little different in the sense that we have education better than our parents did. And they don't want to accept the reality that things have changed. They want to stay in probably in the early 60s, in the 70s or so. So the most important thing way to solve our problem is bring our leaders together, work with the middle belt, work with the east, the south, the southeast, and whatever we can work with, and come out with something. Erufai is not going to give up. I've known him for a long time. He is not going to give up. And don't forget, he said that his house was born in Zaria. So he's angry with Southern Kaduna because based on what he said, Southern Kaduna people born his house in Zaria. So he's very angry. We tried here in the diaspora, in the US. We brought a deputy governor and some other representative from his government. And we were in Atlanta. We tried to iron out what the problem was. We were able to get somewhere. We thought we got somewhere, but we didn't. When they went back to Nigeria, things went back where they are. And the man has refused I would call him the man. Everybody has refused to know that his term will soon be over. So the best thing for us is to come together, look at ourselves as one, rather than looking at ourselves as the different ethnic groups that we try to identify. Rather than looking at ourselves as people that are just within one geographical area. We need to go back and get the middle belt to come and sit down with us so that we can discuss. And I know the South, Southeast, and others are willing to work with us. Until we are able to do that, trust me, creation of state is not going to solve our problem completely because these people are already there. The planning, like I said, they call themselves Hausa planning. There's nothing like Hausa planning. Hausa planning was coined just in the 70s or 80s. I think in the 80s. There was Hausa, there was Fulani. But in order to strengthen themselves, they now coined the word Hausa Fulani, and they are using them to strengthen themselves. So let us come together, get our leaders, get our chiefs together, sit down, and come out with some ideas, ways of doing things, the way forward. If we don't do that, we'll continue to suffer the way we are suffering now. It's been happening for a long time, but we are trying to change it now. The youth should do something, and we should try to bring all those people together and work like you are doing. We appreciate what you are doing, but going to El Rufai will not solve the problem. Trust me, we've tried it. We did it here in the US. We had a convention in Atlanta. We invited him. He did not come, but he sent his deputy governor and some other people. We sat down in a round table, discussed it. We came to an agreement. When they got back to Nigeria, they refused to even listen to Sokap.
Okay.
And he has said it himself. He is not going to listen to Sokapu, and he is not going to sit down with Sokapu and talk to them. So let us leave that alone. We will try. If you want to try, you try it. But I know he's not going to do that. So the best thing is let us go back and find a way. If we can get ourselves together, we are going to find some ways of making ourselves strong. And we have to negotiate within ourselves. We shouldn't be afraid to negotiate, but let us not negotiate out of fear. If we negotiate out of fear, we are not going to come up with something. But we can negotiate, and I think something that has started with the Etiap, I expect that every chieftain should go back, sit down, and find out, sit down, you don't have to negotiate that. Let them find out those they want to send as representatives so that they can come together and come out with something. In that case, we are ready to go. If we don't do that, we are not here, and we'll continue to be where we are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quickly, Chibwe Ezenagu, please, can you make it in less than 2 minutes, please?
Yeah, sure. So the solutions, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just like media coverage is very important. Media coverage is very important, national and international wise, because in Nigeria right now, we don't have enough media coverage that will show the world what is really going on, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, where it has most killings. And then we need to really look into dividing Kaduna State because, like Mr. Austin said, honestly, I don't think this peace talk is going anywhere because tomorrow they'll start another one in another region. So all those regions that are affected, like the southeastern region, the whole southeastern region needs to form their own group, just like Amotekon. The whole middle belt, southern Kaduna, all those areas need to form their own groups. And then we have to focus on our military because once again, everything that everybody has been saying, nobody has said anything about our military. Because so without our military, who will be there to protect us? Especially what's going on in Sambisa Forest right now. We're talking about our military that has been underpaid, underappreciated. We don't even recognize our military. So who else will be out there? All of us, we are all traveled. The ones that has children, all their children is outside the countries. So back to that military talk again, who will be there to? But besides that one, because we already know that Nigeria is a failed government as it is right now. So let's focus on the next president that will be coming again. Because the next president has to tell us exactly how he wishes to tackle these security issues in the entire Nigeria. I'm sorry, once again, this is not just Kaduna. My heart goes out to Kaduna State But if you go down towards the deeper northern part of Nigeria, people are dying in numbers. Fulani has circulated the whole Nigeria. The whole Nigeria has been circulated by Fulani. But nobody is talking anything about these things. All we are focused on is Middle Belt, Southern Kaduna, Middle Belt, Southern Kaduna. This thing is beyond Middle Belt and Southern Kaduna. Why is it so hard that we cannot go and protect our own regions? That is what I'm trying to find out. So until all these things, I'm talking about total restructuring of our military. Total restructuring, as in reshuffle the whole military, starting from service chiefs down. Everybody knows.
Okay.
We thank you. Yeah, our time is running out. Let's.
Okay. So thank you very much. Can we take the last, Mr. Felix Moses, then afterwards Gloria Yakusak, please. Then we have obviously two people raising up their hands. Then we'll round it up, please. Mr. Philip Moses, can you make it snappy, please?
I just want to concur with some of the suggestions that have been put across. Quite a number of people have spoken and have spoken very well, and I concur with the idea. But I would still insist that even among the alternative or solutions to that we should be appropriate for this problem, I think the creation of state is very necessary. It is very clear, and we have to understand that there is a conspiracy going on. There is a grand plan going on. And typically, if you look at what has been happening from Southern Kaduna and even across to other parts of the Nigerian states, there is a deliberate attempt to change the demography of Nigerian society in order to have a full grip of power perpetually. So, and we should be very mindful because these things have been going on for quite a while. It's been going on repeatedly and very recurrent. So there's a grand plan, there's a grand scheme to change the demography of Nigeria completely. And we need to understand that because when you look at what's been happening, why did in the south or in the east they have this Omotoko? Killings have been going on in other parts. And so there's a grand plan to change the demography of the Nigerian state in order to have a full grip of power perpetually in Nigeria. So when it comes to the Southern Kaduna, of course, I would want to insist that the creation of a state is very necessary. I mean, if we cannot live together, then let's go our separate ways. And this is one of the agitations in the entire Nigerian state, whereby there's agitation for secession. So, in fact, until recently, I have always not agreed with any group or any agitation for a secession. But with the recent development of Nigeria, you cannot help but sympathize with any group wanting to secede. And I remember when the vice president of Osibanjo came to Minnesota, we had a town conference, a town hall meeting here. And I asked a question. I said, what are you doing? What is your government doing to ensure that every section and every ethnicity in Nigeria have a sense of belonging? Because completely the citizens of the Nigerian state are disenchanted. Nobody feels to have a sense of belonging. And that is why some of us are calling for the restructuring of the Nigerian state. And one of our speaker pointed out correctly. The constitution needs to be restructured, where every ethnicity and every region need to have a sense of belonging. Not all of us feeling like we're living like third-class citizens. So it's imperative to do that, and I don't want to take too much time, but I concur with most of the views, but I want to insist that, of course, the creation of state is very necessary. Even if it means Southern Kaduna people are going to go and be killing ourselves, let's kill ourselves. But we want our own state. Let's Kaduna state be divided. We want to go away so that Northern Kaduna can stay separate. Let Southern Kaduna be on the top. The agitation for Gurara State has been going on for years.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And on that note, I'll bring Gloria Sani. Please, can you unmute yourself and make it snappy, please?
Thank you. I'm totally in support of what other speakers have said as solution. Unity is all about it. If we can work under one umbrella,
You know what? Because your audio is not working properly.
We must try to conquer poverty among us.
Okay, let's stop your video, please. Can you go ahead? Maybe your
Some
connection.
of us that are in high position.
Go ahead, please.
Oh. I hope I am trying to stop the video. I didn't. I hope I am trying to stop the video. I hope I have not removed them.
No, she's still there.
Okay.
I'll stop the video. She's still there, but she hasn't got any audio. I think she's connected. Yeah, she's come back. Okay. Can you please unmute yourself once more? Gloria, can you please unmute yourself? We stopped your video.
Hello?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We stopped your video because of your connection.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, we can hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead, we can hear.
Okay, thank you. If government can wake up to their responsibility of ensuring lives and property, looking beyond religion, tribes, and other ethnic cases, let us be honest and be sincere to ourselves. The government is not one-sided. It should be able to protect every soul. It should be able to protect everything that belongs to the individuals in his state, not only one-sided. Finally, just like they said, creation of state. If the government will be one-sided, then they better give a state to Southern Kaduna so that they will know that they have their own government and they work on their own. This is the little I can see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that brief contribution, and thank you, straight to the point. So we would take the questions now. We would be calling on Otumba. Otumba, please, can you unmute yourself? And please, 1 minute contribution.
Thank you very much for having me, Mercy. I just believe that most of what I wanted to contribute has been said. Most importantly, I think there's a need to have one front, one common front. With the fragments of Southern Kaduna people, different places, it's going to make negotiation, discussion with any governor of that area very, very difficult. So I agree with all the people who have suggested that there must be one front, one common front, whether in
15 minutes time.
Yeah, anywhere in the whole world. So once you go to the governor of the state that is disregarding or respecting other ethnic people in his state, he will know that these people main business, they are one. He's not speaking to different people. That's one. The other thing I want to say is I want to ask this people organizing this regular meeting. You're doing a very good job. I do appreciate. But the question is, how do we know that most of the conclusions, most of what we discuss here, get to the authorities? Because at the end of the day, if all this does not get to authority, it will just be like a talking shop, and nobody wants to waste his time by contributing. And you also want to see results. You want to see fruit of what you are doing. So please, maybe towards the end, you can answer that question to me. Finally, the issue of creation of state. From experience, we have seen that 36 plus the FCT, there's so many states. People of these different states are still not getting any results. They still have to contend with bad management, bad governance. So I would think, again, the southern people of Kaduna should form a formidable, strong, viable front all over the world, and then go and meet the governor that is not respecting them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quickly, Chief Abasi, please, can you unmute yourself and make your contribution, please?
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Well, as I said before, you see, this problem of Nigeria is a very serious one that it's not going to be easy. But I think that first and foremost, as I said earlier, it's something Nigerians, and I say again, Nigerians must rise up. First of all, whether creation of states or whatever, you can't create states when you don't have a stable government. It's not possible. That's clear. Therefore, Nigerians should say enough is enough. Simple as that. Who are the people to organize this to be done? One. Two, I asked a question which maybe someone can answer. Where are our people that put us into this mess? The present ones that call themselves the leaders, where are they? And I don't mind mentioning all the generals, retired and the former senators. So where are they? Former presidents, where are they? And the house is burning. And they are keeping quiet. Who they want to come up and fix the mess? Let them come out and stop pretending. Nigerians are too comfortable. Look at other areas where they pull down the president and all this. And was it the one person? Or talk? Let them rise. Otherwise, let us quench. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Are we getting on Paul Yusuf, please? Can we make it quickly? 1 minute, please.
Thank you very much. I just want to come back to a couple of points that have been spoken earlier on about Southern Kaduna people and the governor. I have had the opportunity of discussing a great deal here in the diaspora with a lot of international organizations. Now, whatever help Southern Kaduna is going to get from any international organization cannot happen outside of Kaduna State. And Kaduna State has got a government. And we, whether Erufai hates us, we hate him, we still owe allegiance to that office of the governor of Kaduna State. So my relationship with Erufai, no matter how you think that he's not accessible, he must have interests somewhere. There must be a way somebody somewhere in this world can influence him. So we must not give up on trying to negotiate with him. We have to find a way. Someone suggested that he is here just for a while, 8 years. Erufai could do 50 years worth of damage in 1 year in Kaduna State. So we should not give up the idea of trying to find a way. Now, the same person also suggested, one other or two persons have suggested that we work with Middle Belt, Afenefere, Ndibo. I have contacts and I'm honorary member to all their associational meetings here. And they have been trying to talk to me, and I have been sending them to try and talk to Sukapo, to try and make Sukapo the umbrella body. I have been in touch with Tony Nadi and all the other ones. So for us as Southern Kaduna people, solution is to organize ourselves, like-minded people, empower Sukapo, find a way to get the governor of Kaduna State to engage with us. Even if he doesn't want to talk with Sukapo, we should find a way to dialogue, to negotiate with him, to see the need to solve our problem. So if we want the international community to come to Southern Kaduna now and solve our problem, they arrive in Kaduna State. Are they going to pretend that there's no government in Kaduna State and just go to Southern Kaduna and try to work there? The state government have to allow them to even come to negotiate with us or do anything with us.
Sure.
So I am thinking, whatever our reasoning, we are still citizens of Kaduna State, and we still owe allegiance to the seat of government in Kaduna State. The other states in the Middle Belt, like the Benue and the Plateau and all the others, their government is not in, and it has no issue with them, has no disdain or contempt for them. So he sympathizes with them. Our governor refuses to even sympathize with what is going on with us. So we have to find out from him, why does he hate? How can anybody hate so much? Why does he hate us so much? So we need to find out and maybe douse down the hatred.
Okay.
We can't just say, okay, he hates us, we'll hate him back. We won't solve our problem.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Please, Austin Nyam, please, 1 minute, please. We are really out of time.
I have a message for the killers, for those destroying the country. Their action will determine when poverty will end in Nigeria. Their action will determine when Nigeria will become a civilized society. Their action will determine when everybody will have complete peace in that country. So if they like, they can go ahead with what they're doing, but they should understand that And that is going to affect everyone. All of us want to go back to a peaceful Nigeria that you will be proud of. Yes, today you cannot sit down and talk about I'm from Nigeria. Everybody's going to look at you. Somebody look at you. Why are you people killing yourself? People are behave like animals. But again, you have to understand beyond any sort of politics, beyond any sort of marginalization, injustice, the born to rule syndrome, to take over, to any sort of internal colonization. At the end of the day, we need to be happy. We need to live in peace. But the more they continue, all of us will end up that way.
Thank you very much.
There. Yeah, so.
Thank you very much. So the final is Fidelix. Please unmute yourself and make your final point. Then Daniel, you can please make your concluding remark, and we close today's conversation this evening. Fidelix, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity given to me once again. Please, somebody just mentioned, and that occurs to me, we have so many generals, retired generals, and even present in Southern Kaduna. What are they doing? What are they saying? We have generals that have held this nation in the military, even international. But this genocide is going in Southern Kaduna. What are they doing? What are they saying? Does it need them to be having posts? We have SAs, special assistant to the governor from Southern Kaduna, our brothers and sisters. Somebody talk about negotiation with the governor. These SAs, what are they doing? Are they comfortable with what is happening in Southern Kaduna? Does it mean they are comfortable with it? Or they are just there for their self-centered solution, just for themselves? They don't care about what is happening in Southern Kaduna? I call on these people. Let them wake up. Let them rise. I call on our elites in Southern Kaduna. We have so many elites. We have people in Southern Kaduna that can build schools. In fact, we have been marginalized not only in this issue of genocide. Academically, we have been marginalized. Southern Kaduna people looking for admission in Kaduna here in every institution. If you are not a Muslim, they don't consider you. Let us have institutions in Southern Kaduna. We have people who are rich enough to give us institutions. But if you look at our elite, most of them, what we don't see, things that they bring in Southern Kaduna rather than hotels. Please, let's bring things that will develop the Southern Kaduna. I call on our generals, retired generals, and even serving generals to come up with issues to bring lasting solution in our Southern Kaduna. I still stand on the creation of states. If we, the Southern Kaduna, will kill ourselves, let us have our own state. And let us know whether we are the one killing ourselves or we have people outside coming to kill us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. On that note, I would once more thank everyone for joining us. Then I'll hand over to Daniel Lumba if he has concluding comments. Now,
please, can I just drop some important information here?
Who is speaking?
This is Philip again talking.
Yes.
I want us to note very seriously that there is a deliberate attempt to change the narrative of this crisis, and whereby it is being described as ethno-religious crisis. It is not an ethno-religious, it's a genocide. They want to completely remove the term genocide in order to give the international community a different viewpoint and a different perspective as to what is happening, in order that their attention will not be drawn to even come to South Africa and see for themselves. So let's continue to throw light and have a focus on the term genocide, and that is exactly what it is. So if you listen to most of the media presentations from the state, you would hear them mentioning that, no, it is a ethno-religious conflict that is happening. It is not an ethno-religious conflict. It is a genocide attempt to wipe out the race and culture of the people in Southern Kaduna.
Thank you. Thank you.
That one should be noted.
Thank you very much. I had in many cases argued in several forums. For instance, when people talk about these conversations and they say this is farmers' headers clashes or clash, and I say there is nothing like farmers' header clash. all you have is Heather's invasion of farmland, because farmers are static. They have a land where they plant. Their land don't move. They don't go about in ranches looking for cows to, do away with. But these cows invade. So as you said, this is, the nomenclature must remain the same way we have seen in so many times, in so many cases, the government says these are headsmen invading the country. But whoever does it, we don't necessarily care much, except that what we want is result. If they are foreigners, deal with them. If they are invading our land, protect us. Be it in Southern Kaduna, Middle Belt, anywhere they are, we are demanding that the right thing ought to be done. Now, on that note, to the question asked by Otumba, Daniel, you will have the floor next. Otumba said he hopes that we're not wasting our time. I don't think so, Otumba. We're not wasting our time. There is a reason why newspapers have columns and newspapers have editorials. All the conferences we've been doing are widely published in the Nigerian newspapers. And there is no governor that knows his or her onion that doesn't read papers and the papers are not in the archive. So these are, resources, big time resources go into this to ensure that the summary of these conversations that we do have are put in the papers. And those in authority also have access to these papers. Some of them, for specific ones, get forwarded to the people in question. You can be rest assured that once this report comes out, maybe tomorrow or on Monday, you can be rest assured that the governor would at least have that in his inbox. Now that he reads it, he takes action. We've done our bit, hoping that that will spur him to have a genuine conversation that is needed in order to have a lasting solution. On that note, I will thank everyone once more for having the time, 2.5 hours that we have been on this conversation, and I will be handing over now to Daniel Elumba for his concluding thoughts. Daniel, over to you.
And again, adding to that, we thank you, Maz. Adding to what you have just said in regards to the value of these conferences, it's also targeted at the international community. Someone talked about so that the narratives is not being changed. So these documentations, reports are made, the international community reaches them. In fact, for this program, we would have had the attendance of a senator from the United States. Unfortunately, towards the late hour, he indicated we were not able to have him in attendance. But nevertheless, the authorities in the United States get to know about what is happening in Nigeria through these conferences. And we know that nothing kind of spurs the Nigerian elites to action like international opinion. Having said that as well, the governmental authorities in Nigeria also gets to read them, just as Mazi have said. And even some of us who are social media influencers, some of us who have some media at our disposal, also get informed, have been enlightened greatly from the discussions we've had, especially with regards to the genesis of this Southern Kaduna crisis. It's been we have enriched our knowledge. So it will also inform whatever we tend to give out to the public as well, to inform their opinion. Another thing I would like to point out is the politics of Southern Kaduna State should not be overlooked. The politics of it all. One of the speakers emphasized it greatly. RFI is there now. It has about 2 years remaining. So the people most affected can as well start thinking now. RFI have not spoken to us. It's saddening that some of the people who actually worked for RFI to emerge are in this forum. I know personally some of those who campaigned for RFI to emerge as governor. and no one knew that when he becomes governor, that he act this way. So it's people who forget history tend not to learn from it. So the participants, the people who are mostly affected, can as well start thinking now. Because refer, for instance, how do we influence the people who may become the next governor of the state to listen to us, to solve our problems? So having said that, we thank you very much. Tomorrow, we are having 2 Muslims from Southern Kaduna to speak to us again, to hear their own side of the story. We compile all these things and formulate a solution as a report to those in government. So thank you all for attending. It's been a very enriching evening, and we look forward to also listening to some of the speakers again in another program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think before we do move, suddenly I have Njenje Zamani raising hands here. So can you unmute yourself, please? Zamani?
Hello? Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please, 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate this meeting. It has been enlightenment to me all through. Like I posted something on the comment section, and I think it's something that I want you guys to take into consideration going forward. Like I said, I've heard several times Erufai mention the fact that he's not going to listen to Sokapo because Sokapo has elected representatives that are representing them in the government. So one question that comes to mind is, I don't know what is the relationship between Sokapo and these representatives. Is there a way we can find, part of the solutions should be looking at a way to bring these people together and see, let us know, the elected representatives, when they are in their meetings, what did they discuss about Southern Kaduna? What are the things that they have? Do they have a say there, or they are being sidelined? Let us know what is happening. Well, that way, we'll be able to kind of find a way to forward between the elected leaders and Sokapo itself. That's just what my suggestion is. So that at least if you are making a report, maybe it should be one of the recommendations that should be looked into.
Well, I think it would have been, I think we had Binyat invited. Binyat is the PRO Sokapo, and on various conferences that we have had before, we had Jonathan Asake as well, who was a member of REP, and he has actually outlined the way and manner he has been working with, as the president of Sokapo, and the way and manner he's been working with those representing Kaduna. Again, you all know how the Afro senator was kind of booted out not to go back and do his job. So it's in these states that the nation finds itself now. You can agree with us that the governors are mini emperors. But leave it at that. We'll continue doing the best we can in order to find solutions. So,
sorry, but it's still a good point, because I think last week we had Atake here, the Sokapo president. I think when next we have him, let us also point out that fact.
Exactly.
Why is Erufai not speaking to you? What is your relationship? So I think it's a good point.
Yes.
And a fair one, yes.
And finally, please, Austin Nyang, once more, please, make it snap. You said you have a question.
Yeah, I have a question. You just mentioned that you have 2 people from Southern Kaduna tomorrow. Now, my question is, why are these 2 people don't want to face other people? Even though some of them were invited today.
I think he has already said that before. Dan, you can take that again.
Secondly, just to answer the last person that spoke, the local government chairman in South Kaduna State have not received a dime from February. So I think he would deduct something from that.
Hold on.
Okay.
The local governments in Southern Kaduna have not received their.
In most of them in Southern Kaduna, one of the local